Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Well, we're the Chapter 9 group, and today we'll be talking a little bit about deafness, a little bit of what everyone learned, and so I'll start. So I learned that the deaf community doesn't view themselves as people with a disability. I mean, obviously they have some form of disability, but it's not like a disability where like you have autism or schizophrenia. They view their disability as more of a cultural change because in the deaf community, the real world has adapted their uh, hearing loss as part of our culture. I mean, now there's text messages, closed captioning on the TV. A lot of stuff is also sign language at games and whatnot. So, in terms of the deaf community, they don't really view their problem as a disability, but more of a cultural difference. What is that? Oh, wait a second. There's Kendra and Daniel. Let's go see what they have to say.
Oh, hey there, Lee.
Hey, I see what the best part about this chapter. I personally think that the best part of this chapter was the part on the hearing aids, because my grandfather uses a hearing aid. He recently, just a few years ago, and for a while there, it was kind of hard to communicate with him, just because you had to like talk really loudly. But now that he has a hearing aid, he can hear everything fine, and it's really made it a lot easier to communicate. So I can't imagine having to have one or not being able to have one if you were actually deaf and not just of old age. What was your favorite part?
Well, my favorite part was reading about American Sign Language, because, that's really a main way for deaf people to communicate. But there's a couple problems with it, like not all words have a sign, which can be kind of hard sometimes. And you know what's really interesting about it?
What?
It's actually considered being bilingual
Really?
when you know American Sign
Wow.
Language.
Wow.
So there's a lot of interesting things about ASL.
That is.
Hey, I'm Abby, and I'm going to talk about the supports and technologies that supplement or replace sound for deaf people. And the first two ways have to do with other people helping someone who is deaf or has hearing loss hear things. The first way is sign language interpreters, which can be used in especially medical or legal interactions where they just sign the entire conversation so the people who are deaf can understand it. And that language is also called transliteration, and that's helped a lot of deaf people complete college. And now it's becoming more common for sign language interpreters to show up in elementary schools even too. And another way that people can help out is there's speech-to-text translation, which is especially common in like college lecture halls where a person will type a code into a computer and while the lecturer is lecturing, and it will show up on the person who has a hearing impairment's laptop, and it will remain there for about 1 minute so that they have more time to process what was said rather than the half a second that a sign language interpreter says something. And it's also been very helpful to have captioning in television and movies. And actually, since 1993, all television sets have been required to have a chance for captioning on them, and many TV shows and movies have the option to have captions below the screen. And there's also text telephones, which are telephones that send text messages through the actual phone lines of a house phone, and you can send them to anybody else that has the same, what's called TT text. And there's also a lot of computer technology that's been helping deaf people out by having the words on the screen. And there's alerting devices where there are sounds like doorbells or fire alarms, and it will be replaced by a vibration or something so the deaf person can understand what the signal that occurred was. And that's pretty much all the ways that have been used for technology to help out deaf people.
When we talk about personal experiences with the hearing and the deaf loss, I definitely have the personal experience with that. I worked at Bob Evans for 4 years, but the whole time that I was in high school. And throughout those 4 years, there was a group of deaf people who usually came every single Sunday when I worked every single Sunday. And so it was really interesting to see how they reacted to the different, just being deaf and being in a basic setting like that. They would always bring a support group of different deaf people, about maybe 10 to 15 every Sunday. So it was nice to see the inclusion in all of them all the time. So it kind of shows that even though you do have those things that set you back, such as deafness or hearing loss, you're still, if you have support behind you, it could really back up a lot of things and make it a lot easier